The blessings. Happy new week. Happy new week. Feliz Lunes. Monday. Had a safe um, weekend. Team member Aaron Glenn, private personal consultant. Also, I advocate for mental health awareness as well. I believe that success is 90% mindset and 10% skills that anybody can learn if applied. I learned this from my mentor. Well, I heard it from my mentor, but it really makes sense from the lifestyle I live and the things that I believe in, as far as peace of mind, being able to pursue happiness, having clear actions to take, give you guys steps, tools to manage stress and anxiety 7 days a week. I feel like it's important as far as having dreams and goals. You can't really see clear, think clear if you have a lot of things that's bothering you, if you don't know how to deal with things that's bothering you. So, yeah, mindset is really important. It's a thing that you have to guard throughout the day, throughout your lifetime. The pursuit of happiness is about being conscious, knowing how to be emotional intelligent when things arise. Um, it's a really big thing that a lot of people don't really like to talk about, that we rarely do talk about. So I like to open a discussion about mental health, people to express how they feel without acting on it all the time. Because it's a time for everything. Sometimes it's not the time, and then know when the time and how to react and respond to things that triggers you. First and foremost, being aware is to know what things trigger you, so you can either have more control, more power of your life. I do on here put out positive vibes every day, reading from my book of inspiration, which has a page for the day of every day, a page of inspiration that was inspired from books of the Bible, put into one little daily page of inspiration, enjoying peace in his presence, Jesus calling, written by Sarah Young. Today is October the 27th, 2025. Just celebrated a lot of birthdays of the Libra season, just wrapping up 4 days ago, 4 to 5. The month of October, few birthdays, a lot of birthdays of people I know. My son, he was in the Libra season, October 5th. Just celebrated a birthday, my young prince. A lot of friends and family, homegirl Michaela Robinson. Um, just think about her because every day on this day, we're really like around the nighttime, I'll call her or she'll call me. We be telling each other happy birthday as the day goes by. Well, we'll chat for a bit. And then I'll be telling her, yeah, happy birthday. She, yeah, happy birthday. Because her birthday the day before mine the day after hers. And we used to do this for a few years at a time. It's like lost communication. This is like way before MySpace and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just a lot of good people I meet and met throughout my lifetime. A lot of people that help guide me in the right direction, add a lot of value to my life, to my personality, who I am. And I just like to give people their flowers while they're alive. Let people know I appreciate them, that they are appreciated. Stuff like that. My birthday coming up, October 28th. I don't really have no plans or nothing like that. I just thank God that I'll be able to see that day if I do, nothing's promised. So that's why I've just been like, Lord, if you allow me to see it, like how the older people used to be. And I really understand why they like that, especially if you live a life, uh, adventurous lifestyle, I'll say. Meaning, like, you dabble in and out of sin, and God's grace is the only reason that you're still alive and that you're free and healthy and everything that you should be grateful for. Coming up in my later 30s. And it's like once you reach this milestone, your third generation, the first one, you don't really know anything. That's when you become who you are and you start to have a sense of self. But in your second generation, your 20s, that's when you start to be a little arrogant. You start to, like, really feel yourself. You start jumping off the porch, or you like start getting into your career, or it's like You really like if you haven't have a sense of self, that's when you really start to find yourself and know yourself, and you go on embarking on a journey in your 20s, which is your second generation. I mean, yeah, yeah. So then later in the 30s, it's like you start reflecting, like, where am I headed? You starting to lock in, and these years go fast. You know, your second generation, you be like, okay, I'm kind of knowing who I am, and I want to leave a mark in this world. Or you already know who you is, and you already on your way leaving your mark, meaning you embarked in college and you working on a career. You may have started a family, you may have got married, whatever, right? You on your way to fulfilling your dreams. For the people who was slightly different, like myself, I was slightly finding myself. I was always shy. I didn't really like had the courage to be myself and step out. So I used to follow the crowd, and I was like not accepted a lot because I was different. I'm still different, and it's like certain things don't sit right with me what the crowd do. So I was like, I don't want to be following up behind people engaging and partaking in crimes and things that's not satisfying my spirit. Like I don't feel right with it. You know, like stuff like that. Because I grew up kind of conflicted and confused. I was about my first generation. I learned about spirituality, so I was going to church. I knew about God, so I didn't really know myself. I just knew that it was more to myself. So in my 20s, I was struggling to find myself because I knew about spirituality and I was open to the spiritual world and had spiritual experiences. So that was hard to talk about, especially the lifestyle as a Christian supposed to live. It was like, um, I don't want to really live with restraints and I don't really want to live for Christ, but I know it's right and I know that I should be taking a stance. I know I should be holy, man. I should be different from the world. But that's what I mean by my second generation trying to find yourself, dibbling, dabbling in and out of sin when you know better. And it's like you just saved by grace. You out here doing stuff that could put you in jail, that could um, decrease your health. You know, drugs and or unprotected sex. You can catch a disease. You can, whatever, right? You know where I'm going with this. Not everybody is lucky enough to escape those temptations, escape the consequences that come with that, the detrimental parts that people live their third generation trying to clean up, which is in the 30s. And you think, like, wow, you know, those times went fast. The first 10 years of my life, then my teens into my 20s, and my 20s into my 30s is like 1 year. Those generations just went past. You know, the years go by like in a couple weeks. They go by fast, and people be like time speeds up. But it's like you're just more aware of more things, and you have more options, which make it seem like you have so much to do, so many things that are a priority. You know, you're trying to shuffle out your life and trying to make sense of it, trying to make it make sense before the later of the years come because you're not sure how much more you have to go. But yeah, we're saved, and I was just thankful that I was exposed to spiritual life earlier in my life. Um, I struggled with being a Christian and trying to figure out who Christ was because it was culture. It was, you know, I didn't ever really think of it as having a personal relationship with God that you can really get to know God and be a one-on-one, kind of like you do with the world when you have personal relationships with people. And then my third generation, I really started taking it more serious. Like I know God is real, and I need to be wise about how I engage with life, knowing that there's a real spiritual side. And, you know, it's not nothing to play with. It's as serious as me protecting my life. So it's like this year alone, I've just been walking with Christ, and the way that I've been doing so has been reading this book written by Sarah Young, who read the Bible and take different passages from the Bible and put it into inspiration and put it into a way that you could know the Bible and learn the Bible in an inspiring way. And I like to inspire you guys on this October the 27th with this word for today, which is as you become increasingly aware of my presence, you find it easier to discern the way you should go. This is one of the practical benefits of living close to me. Instead of wondering about what is on the road ahead or worrying about what you should do if or when, you can concentrate staying in communication with me. When you actually arrive at a choice point, I will show you which direction to go. Many people are so preoccupied with future plans and decisions that they fail to see the choice they need to make today. Without any conscious awareness, they make their habitual responses. People who live this way find a dullness creeping into their lives. They sleepwalk through their days, following well worn paths or routines. I, the creator of the universe, am the most creative being imaginable. I will not leave you circling in deeply rooted paths. Instead, I will lead you along fresh trails of adventure, revealing to you things you did not know. Stay in communication with me, following presence, my guiding presence. I'm worried about if y'all can hear this little heater I got on because it's kind of loud. That's what's in the background, that little humming noise. But anyway, this word was inspired from the book of Psalms, chapter 32, verse 8, and also, last but never the least, the book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 1. And that is the word for today. Being, I am the creator of the universe, most creative, imaginable being. That's pretty dope. I've been listening to a lot of this new age Christian, not new age Christianity, but these these people who slander Christ, they all talking about, and I understand people get hurt from trying to try Christ. It's once you choose Christ, you're not exempt from being persecuted. They killed Christ for being Himself and telling people there's a different way to live, there's a better way of life, and He was crucified. I know people hear that and they know that, but when you really think like, what was a crucifixion? The way that he died, being hung on the cross for 9 hours, crying out to God, saying, Lord, you forsaken me, but forgive them, for they know not what they do. And his feet's got nails in them, and every time he breathed, he got to hold his feet up. That's how you breathe on the cross. When you take a breath, those nails in your feet, they like squeezing in tighter. You got to hold yourself up. So it's like agonizing pain. And sometimes you die days later. You might not die right away on that cross. You'll be up there trying to breathe until you know you just, whenever you finally done, you bleeding out, and you have thorns on his head, holes in your hands, and it's really, really crazy how they can just torture somebody like that. He didn't really commit no crimes. He wasn't doing much. And then people always like to go back, like the New Testament, the Old Testament. Overall, it's all about how they say God was just greedy with power, um, egotistical, and doing all these things to this guy, that guy, whatever, right? But at the end of the day, the problem is that we have free choice and we just choose to do evil. A lot of people choose to do right, but majority of us, we don't. And to be accountable, we won't, because we know we choose to do the wrong thing, and we know we don't want to be accountable. We want to get away with doing wrong, me included. That's why we were born sinners, because we have the choice to sin, and we will. And that's what it is. It's not saying that we don't want to, because if we don't want to, we choose not to. But that's why we're born sinners, because we're going to choose to sin, because we have the choice to. We have free will. We have the mind to do as we please, unlike the angels, which one of them choose to go against God. And that's what we call the devil, the adversary, the one who said, I need free will, I need free choice. And to help you with your creations, it's not fair to create and not to be able to have free will. So that's what the devil part was about, like, changing, challenging God's creation so that his creation can have another choice. When God give us the way, the devil give us another way. So basically he gives us a choice and God gives us a choice. And we get the choice to choose to create what experiences we desire. So anyway, nevertheless, it's about being responsible and being holy. Holy doesn't mean not make mistakes, not sin at all. It just means that you're trying to be different from the world and that you stand out differently. Like some of the goats, the term that we use here as human beings, people who live differently, who live great. These people stood out from the world, whether they was a good influence or a bad influence. And that's the power of influence. You have the choice to lead people the right way to do great things, or you have the power to lead people the wrong way, unaware that they're being misguided, misled, just like the devil did. And he gave them a choice and they choose the wrong thing and they've been forever misled and misguided. Not saying that they was wrong for choosing, but the problem is we choose to sin, we choose to do wrong, or we don't know which way to go. That's why God is always calling us. That's why it's a battle of the mind. That's why mental health is so important, because the devil is always giving us a choice that's enticing, that's not the right way for our souls, that'll lead us to damnation, that lead us to suffering and pain. And this new age uh, witchcraft, basically everybody that put down Christians who want to talk about Jesus and he's real and he's this, he's that, right? They want to say his name is Joshua. And all of the debate, right? All of the confusion, which is tactics of the enemy, which the world does. Anytime you hear this rhetoric, anytime you hear this type of talk, you should know it's a red flag, because this is what the world does. This is what the world did, and this is what the world would do. And when you align with the world, you're headed the wrong way. For the way to eternal life is short and narrow. The way to damnation is wide and open. The world's always the wrong way. Just like when you start debating about Christ, that's the wrong way. That's the worldly way of thinking. Christ is spiritual, and it's a choice to believe in this spiritual being or not. And believe that Jesus came from the spiritual world in the flesh and died for our sins, and want us to be in spirit with Him if we choose to believe. So it's always a battle of the mind, because the devil know he's been there with Christ. He's been there from the beginning of time, and he has his own kingdom. That's why God didn't destroy him, because he said, "You don't want to abide by my rules. You don't want to live like me. You're different from me, so you don't deserve to be in my presence." He's far from God's presence. And when the universe was created, God's been here the whole time. Everything's not really been here, but God created mathematics. He created space, time, matter, and the devil was right there with him, helping him create different universes and stuff. So they've been doing that for eons and eons, until man was made on the planet of Earth, and we breath the spirit of God. Now we're living creations, and the devil was there watching it, but he was on the other side of the earth, which is this realm, which is closest to us. He watched it all happen, and he came to give us a choice when God didn't give us the choice of right or wrong. We was babies at mine. That's what corrupted his creations, and he see that we choose to do wrong, so he was disappointed with his creations, and he tried to recreate us. That's what the flood was about, and that's what the rainbow is about. It was his promise that he won't destroy us in that way again, but not a promise that he won't destroy those who are wicked. He never said that he's not going to have his justice, but he's slow to wrath, not meaning he won't have wrath. So it's not like, oh, he's sweet, he loving all this and that, like it's a sweet thing. Like, no, you're gonna have consequences, and it is what it is, right? Like here in the physical world, you do wrong, you commit a crime, you break the law. Usually, punishment is incarceration or whatever they do to you. But majority of the time, we know that's what it's about, right? And it's spiritual um, consequences as well. It's just not the same consequences as we have as the physical. I've tried different things. People is not wrong for what they believe and who they believe, and it's power in the spiritual world. I'm not saying that Christ is the only power, but He's the highest of the high. And why you think people worship who they worship, they believe in what they believe in, because they get something from that. The whole thing is you want to lead people to peace and prosperity. You want to lead people to the truth, whatever that truth may be. They can shuffle it out for themselves, but at the end of the day, to just um, bash someone's beliefs because you've been hurt or you don't believe the same. That's my whole thing about what I'm saying about the power of influence. I think that's the wrong way to use your influence to steal people faith, because I've been hurt by being a Christian as well in my practices. It's not every Christian is a good Christian, and we're good, we're bad, we're people. Some of us lead people the right way and some of us don't. And that's what every religion, that's what everything of influence. The devil has the most influence over the world. That's why this is his kingdom. He's the Prince of Light, the Son of the Morning. I know you heard these terms. He has a lot of different terms, but nevertheless, he has the most influence of this world. And he was able to tempt God, saying, I will give you this world because he has influence, meaning he was, if you want to control this world by political, setting the laws as far as the government and have everything under control like that. That's what he meant by I can give you this world. I can give you the influence to influence this world to run it how you want to. Therefore, it comes with money, it comes with everything. So why not be rich, right? Because you running everything. And people be like, oh, it's the people that work the hardest. No, this is the devil's world, and he rewarding his soldiers with his money to do his deeds. I mean, we God gonna take care of us, but we're not gonna have what these people have because this is the son of the morning. This is his world. These are his things, and he gave it to his kids. That's why you see the world wants you to be like the world, to have the worldly things, to be enticed in this world, and to just think worldly, like, oh, we want us to live forever. But that's why people bring up that thing about Job, because it's a worldly discussion, it's a worldly argument, and it's to steal people's faith from Christ. Because, like I was saying, why else bring it up? Jesus came to be the ultimate sacrifice. So you don't have to be following behind these different spirits that want you to keep sacrificing, taking blood, or you know what it's about. Like that's why these secret societies and these organized they do a lot of things underground, and they don't do it in public because they know it's not right. But nevertheless, it's about ego. They get power from it, and they have the power to do as they please with these things. So that's why they do it. We can go into why it's not good to be partaking in this type of stuff, but I'm not going to debate with that, and I run up the scriptures to tell you exactly what the Bible says it about it. But anyway, I'm not here to convert anybody to anything. It's just how I grew up, knowing that you have a choice. And this year alone, I've just been noticing like how serious it is, and I see it now. Um, signs and symbols for the conscious mind, and it's like when you really aware of what's going on, you see it's not the people, it's spirits that we wrestle against. When we open our minds to be exposed to different spiritual things and practices, different spirits are able to come through and influence us. The same way as the Holy Spirit. And it's no difference. We're vessels for the Holy Spirit or for the spirit of darkness to use us to influence men, to influence the land, to either shed more light or push more darkness into the world. And that's what we're here to do. Either we choose to be aware or not be aware of how we interact and entertain different things of this world. This is a pretty powerful book, and it's been helping me get my mind right, helping me fight these battles of the mind, because the mind is always bombarded with things like this person doing well and you was doing the same thing, so now you need to do something different, or now you need to up the ante, or stuff like that, like thoughts like that, when it's like that's that person's journey. I don't know if this person is happy where they are. I don't know if this person had to make the same sacrifices that I have to. I don't know. And I won't know if I don't ask any questions. But if they're not accessible, all I can do is just imagine instead of just being grateful that I am in this position and I have the mind to be able to do so. And anybody can be successful. Majority of the people that's successful, they have these two things in common that anybody can learn, that anybody can put in their toolbox. And what that is passion and persistence. If you really enjoy something and you really want something, you're passionate about it, you want this experience no matter what, you're going to keep on trying. Persistence just means that you're willing to do something that you've never done before. You're trying to get something you never had before. And you're willing to keep failing until you finally achieve that experience. You have the passion to keep going because, this is something that I really care about. It's something I really want. And passion can be for any and everything. You can have passion for your cooking. You can have passion for being a parent, for taking care of kids. You know what I'm saying? You can have passion for safety of the community. You be neighborhood watch, a police officer, or whatever. You could be passionate for health. You creating herbs and spices to heal, or you're in the field, public service, doing a medical EMT, whatever, right? Nurses, different fields and categories of different things, or you're just a resourceful person, so you consult different businesses and different people to help lead and guide them in certain directions of the experiences that they desire, right? Not everybody had the mindset to even want to pursue goals because they're hurt. They've tried, they failed, they're hurt, disappointed, don't believe that that's for them. They have no passion to continue to try. Therefore, that separates someone highly successful and someone who's not. It's passion, it's persistence. Those are two things that anybody can learn. If you can guard your mind long enough to stay consistent, to start the marathon and run the marathon until it's finished. That's why I always talk about the marathon continues, because you have to get started first and foremost. Nothing comes to a dreamer but sleep. You got to sleep to dream. You got to do that. So you have to take action. You want to dream, you want to experience that reality. You got to get started. You got to move. And it says like, be a doer of the word and not a hearer only. Meaning as well as when you get an education, don't just know stuff. Do with the knowledge that you learn. Take action with it. That's how you know you're wise, right? If you have knowledge and you know what to do with that knowledge, you act on that knowledge. That's wise. And this is the difference. This is an example. Like, knowledge is knowing. I know fire is hot, and I know a sign of fire is smoke. Now, wise, wisdom. It'd be wise if me knowing that smoke may means fire and that fire is hot. I see smoke, but I'm not making a move. I'm just being curious to see what's going to happen next, right? In this moment, I'm not being wise. And now I fuck around, get burned up. Like, oh man, I knew it was hot. I knew it was smoke, but I wasn't wise. So knowing how to be using knowledge is wise. When you sit here and learn a lot of stuff, you need to know when to use this stuff. Take action with this knowledge that you learn, right? So yeah, that's the best analogy that I can put it, the best example that I can give as far as why it's important to take action, why it's important to have mentorship, somebody that's going to lead you in the right direction, right? As far as influence, because someone's popular, someone's celebrated by the world doesn't mean that someone is going to influence you to be spiritually protected, spiritually guided, and spiritually prosperous. And again, prosperity doesn't just mean having the nicest things that you can flaunt on social media. It means really having true peace where you don't have to be ungrateful for the lack of thereof. Meaning, like, sometimes we just gonna need stuff. We're gonna run out of provisions. We're gonna have to resupply. But that doesn't mean that you're lacking. It just means that you have to resupply. That's what it is. And the world make you think that you're lacking because you have to resupply. Whenever you run out of tissue, whenever you need a new light bulb, oh, you lacking because you got to go and get it. No, and it takes time to go do these things, and it's just the mindset. Whenever you think otherwise, it's the worldly thinking, and it's trying like, I gotta go compete, I gotta go get this light bulb, I gotta go get this house, car. It goes deeper into that as far as materialistic and egotistical type of people and situations that this world slowly but surely just bombard your mind with these type of thoughts on this is how you can be living the American dream. This is how you can be liked on Instagram, social media. This is how you can be successful. But at the end of the day, when you get to know yourself, you'll know that all these things are already within you. And you don't have to chase after these experiences. You will attract them. And you will be more at peace. And this is what true peace is, not how much money you can make, how much things you can buy, but the opposite, right? How many situations can you attract to you naturally, being in tune with the universe, allowing it to flow naturally without you having to go behind closed doors to do all of these spells and rituals and all these type of things that forces the universe for you to have your way. And that's exactly what it is, manipulating energy. And we have the power to do so. That's why people say use your magic. And they really mean that. It's really power in words. God created the universe with words. And we have the power to use words to create things or to manipulate things. And that's exactly what people do. And some people are so crafty and the mind so mischievous that they can do it so subtle where you won't even know that they're using words to dictate your influences. I mean, to influence you to react and respond in a subtle way. And like I say, if you don't know about mental health, if you're not aware of triggers, these people who know how to manipulate you as well, they know how to manipulate, they know how to trigger, they know how to pull triggers, right? And manipulate reactions. That's witchcraft. Whether I'm using my voice to do it, whether I'm using objects, signs, or symbols to do it, it's being done. And to be aware is to be alive because the world is doing this stuff on you and with you and to you all the time. Whether you're aware of it or not, it's just what's going on, right? And to call it magic. I call it, I mean, I call it a lot of different things, but that's why I practice it because it's the same thing with Christianity. You could call it magic when you call it on Christ to take care of your battles, and then miraculously it starts to get better. You have a headache and you call on Christ, you pray, you meditate, whatever however you use this magic, right? Whatever terms and terminology people want to use when it comes to getting closer to Christ. People look at you like, how is it done? How do you do it? What are you tapped into? It's just Jesus. Jesus is all the love of Christ. You're not bold enough to really be living, In life, we're going to suffer. But to cry and blame God because we had the experience to suffer, right? That's whack. That's a weak mindset. That's a weak characteristic trait. It's easy to run to these different cults, these different groups, these different people preaching about how his name's not Jesus, and they want to debate about what they think they know. Man doesn't know anything. We know how to destroy and corrupt the minds of people. We know how to mislead people. We know how to mess some stuff up. That's what we know how to do. We know how to make the wrong decisions. We know how to make the wrong choices. We know how to dabble in spirituality and use it to our advantage. That's why we know magic. That's why we know how to become grand masters, wizards, and stuff like that. That's what we do know. But we don't know everything of the spiritual world. We don't. We can say we do, but we don't. I don't know everything. That's why the spirit I talk to is the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of Christ, the Holy Trinity, to bring awareness to me, to bring discernment to certain things, to allow me to question certain things, to have the right questions, to get the right answers. And don't be fooled by this stuff. People are hurt by following Christ. Those who follow Christ will be persecuted. you're going to be hurt. You're going to be, and you people who don't follow Christ, people who don't understand this journey. When you pick up your cross, you pick up the sufferings of Christ Jesus, but we're not having to suffer on the cross with him. We suffer in our feelings, we suffer from mental health, we suffer from the battles of the mind that triggers our reactions towards life, towards the life that we live, the actions that we make for the reality that we experience. And we're not accountable enough to realize these things. We're not aware enough to realize these things are even happening. And that's where discernment comes in through the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit, the only thing that guides us to truth. These other things guides us to a stronger ego. It guides us to self. Only way to know yourself is to know Christ. That's if you're born again. And if not, then you're going to know these other entities, which isn't you. We were made in God's image. What God do you choose to serve? Jesus is God in the physical body, the Holy Spirit, and the threefold. However you want to put it, it's a complicated situation, and I can't really explain it. But I know that as far as the spiritual world, Jesus comes through with the Holy Spirit, and He comes through as the ultimate God, the Creator of the universe. Whether you want to say His name was Yeshua or whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if He was black or white. It doesn't matter if He was in Asia and United States or whatever the land was at the time. It doesn't matter because we wasn't there. Just like we wasn't there when Ulysses or Zeus or whoever these other gods and entities were, we wasn't there. We can't tell you what they did or what they didn't do. We just believe and we just know of their powers, right? So that's why it's important to know who's the influencer that's influencing you to have these thoughts, that's controlling these thoughts, because that's where the battle of the mind is. That's why I advocate for mental health, because you're always influenced by thoughts that's either good or bad, and triggers, whether you're aware of what's triggering you or not, to cause you to react to certain thoughts, certain provocations when people provoke you from spirits that's using them, from them not even being aware of what spirits they're tapping into or being entertained by or being a vessel to be used by. And we're all vessels. Different spirits come in and out, especially when you tap into the spirit world. You're an open vessel, and no longer closes. It's just like we're all cups of water, right? With no lid. The lid is because we're tapped into the spiritual world, and now we're able to be put in more water, which is the Holy Spirit, or soda, or juice, or whatever contaminates our vessel. When you don't have any spirituality, your lid is still closed, and you're still a cup of water, and nothing comes in, nothing goes out. You just don't know. So I chose this life. I came down here to have this experience, to learn these things, to help guide people the right way. Because the first decade of my life, I was learning, I was dabbling. The second decade, I was kind of like getting assurance, learning how to be different from the world, learning how to practice holiness. But also at the same time, was misleading a lot of people along the way because I wasn't sure, I wasn't confident enough. And that's a bad thing. Well, you mislead people the wrong way and you help steal their faith because they was just this close to you supposed to water in them their plants, their seeds. Sometimes we dim people light and we dry up the seeds that people been planting in them, which is the faith of Christ. and they suddenly dry up, losing their faith because we come along with these ideologies of the world that conform to the world, or we're just like the world, and it's an open wide door that we just opened up to the sins and these addictions and everything that the world has, all these problems, right? That's why they have so many commercials with all of these pills, because they have all the solutions to all of the stress that they cause. Even then, when they offer you a solution, it comes with more problems. Like, okay, this will help with your headaches because we give you a lot of stuff to think about that's stressful. But when you take this for the headache, it's going to cause liver problems. It's going to cause lucid dreams and panic attacks. But don't worry, because we got a pill for that. But when you take that pill, it's going to give you headaches. So just take both of these pills, and go a little crazy or try to manage it the best way you can. But you see what I'm getting at, right? When you don't guard your mind, you're easily influenced by these worldly things. You're easily enticed to emotionally be charged about the corruption that's going on in the world, because I told you we have the choice to choose to do as we please, and we usually choose to do the wrong thing, especially the people in power, the people of influence, the people with authority. That's why you see our leaders of the nations just so easily influenced to do the wrong thing and uh, hurt the nations. Nepal, they just overthrew their government because they're abusing their power, they're abusing their authority. They got too egotistical, and it wasn't affecting the people in the wrong way, where the people are not prospering. We're supposed to be prosperous, we're supposed to be fruitful. The whole crabs in a barrel mentality that the world has today is because we don't lift each other up. And that's what the world knows about each other, whether it's from Cali or New York, wherever, right? All across the globe, the mind of the world is to be about self, do what thy will, right? Basically, a selfish way to live life. In the midst of that selfish lifestyle and mindset, we look over people who don't get to the top the way that we got to the top, or who not at the top, no matter how we got there. We just look at people like, oh, my value was more than your value, so you don't matter as a person. Meaning, I got the newest Benz and you still riding the old one, so I'm better than you. I came in first place, I'm better than you. That's what all this stuff is about, the competition, about the whole mindset. I'm the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Me, my accolades, my this, my that, whatever, right? And what dictates who was the legend or who left a legacy, right? No, who made real changes like Gandhi and Martin Luther King and Jesus Christ. But yeah, you could easily get caught up in his worldly ideologies and the whole selfish part of it. But that's the crab in the barrel thing, because you're not lifting anybody up with you. And that's why the world stay in conflict, because that mindset. The people at the bottom who want to live righteous, who are trying to do the right thing, but the people at the top who want to keep pushing them down when they're trying to come up, and they make them feel like they have to do something corrupt to get where they're at, and play little games with their minds because they have the power to stay at the top. And then we think like, oh, maybe if I be an influencer on social media, and you're gonna find out all these people is not really making it how they think they're making it, because they're scamming behind closed doors, doing the PPP loans, taking all of the government funds and spending and splurging on trips to Dubai and the stuff that's going over in Dubai and going on over there. If right? The human toilet bowls and all of that stuff they doing for a little $10,000 that they're gonna come back and spend on 2 trips and some debt. Like $10,000 is not a lot of money. $100,000 can't even really get you by for a year. It's like $100 nowadays not even really a lot. You could buy a pair of gym shoes and need some more money for taxes, right? It's like nothing's never enough because that's the way that the world is keeping its power, and it's not by accident, it's by design. That's where discernment comes in, so you can really realize, like, oh, this is the worldly way of thinking. Like, I should be all right as long as I got food, shelter, water. I have clothes to keep me warm for the different seasons and stuff like that. You have your daily bread, and that's what Jesus teaches us. Like, why do we worry about what we're going to eat, where we're going to sleep, when the birds don't worry about this stuff and they eat every day? And he's like, are we not more important than the birds? We have dominion over animals, meaning we come first in God's eyes. We are his most loved, precious prize. He take care of all his creations, but us more so because we have dominion over the angels. We have dominion over animals. Therefore, we can have power over them. We have authority, right? Like I was saying, people with power, spiritual power. People forget that we have this power just by being heirs of Christ if you choose this life. But you're going to be persecuted. You're going to not have it easy because we're in a world that's governed by the prince of darkness, and this is his kingdom for a limited amount of time until God finished doing what he's doing. Like they say, oh, he's the master carpenter. Yes, he is. He's the master creator. He's creating us a better place because he knows what's going on here. He knows once we was able to have free will and free choice that we're going to choose to mess it up. And as we've been doing, he's trying to use people as a vessel because we're all vessels. It's just, do we want to be a vessel for the light, for Christ? And use that vessel to be a light of the world and to show the world that there is a different way to live and that this world is a fallen place. And if you don't want to fall with this world when it's all over with and it's to be judged, that you will want to be set apart. That means live holy, live different from the world, being grateful for just being able to be in your right mind, being grateful that you're awake and having this experience, the present day. That's a gift every day that you wake up. You don't deserve to wake up because some people don't. I'll take that back. Hold on. We're not promised tomorrow. Let me use that word. I apologize for how I just reworded that and what I said. We're not promised tomorrow. We are what I can't even think of the word. Entitled, right? We're entitled people. We think we deserve to be woke up tomorrow to live the next year, the next 10, 20 years. We don't know though. But we're not promised. And I said that to say this because how you live your life, how you spend your time is important. We don't have all the time in the world to get it right. That's why I say for like the first three generations of my life, I just been making it by the grace of God, because I wasn't promised this long. And I didn't know what was going to be. I had plenty of times where my life was in danger, where I wasn't making the wrong decisions and just doing different stuff, like could have been gone. People that I thought would still be here has been gone. We don't know. And it's like, when we gonna wake up and when we gonna really decide to really be living on purpose. And that's what those who achieve their goals are the highly successful is those who living with purpose and passion. Like, I know I gotta get up, I gotta do this because this is my purpose in life. And it's like it's gonna come with good times and bad times. It's gonna be moments where you feel like I don't want to keep doing this. I'm not happy. I'm not as successful as I would like to be. And those where the thoughts come, where that mindset comes because it's about mindset again. Success is 90% mindset. When those thoughts come, those who are successful, they know how to put those thoughts in check. They know how to continue to run a marathon. And that's what makes people successful. That's the difference between me and anybody who want to start a company is just getting started and keep going no matter the ups, no matter the downs. I want to abandon my ship. There's been times where I needed a lifeline. Had to be revived, I'm constantly being revived because I'm sinking with my ship. But I'm still here and I'm still going. And I'm grateful. That's the difference. I don't know what I'm going to get from this, but I know what I dreamed of getting. And I'm still chasing those goals. I've had those experiences, but I haven't locked it into a solid reality. So that's what I'm learning to do. My bad. So, yeah. What I'm learning to do. I don't know it all. What you don't know, you just don't know. And I don't beat myself learning things. I don't beat myself up for failing. Learning to embrace my failures more and to live in fear, going for my dreams and goals, not being afraid to fail, but being afraid to not take chances. If that makes sense. This being Halloween, spooky time, I've been having spiritual experiences my whole life. I had an experience not long ago. And it's like the way that I deal with those experiences are totally different as well too, having authority over principalities and different energies or whatever, right? It was kind of crazy because like I hear different folk tales, different stories, and I like to listen to them because I guess some of them are warnings, some of them are how to stay alive. I ain't the type to f around and find out. So if you had an experience, I don't care if people don't believe you or not. I'm gonna listen. I might believe it, I might not. I don't know. But around nighttime, especially in Michigan, um, you don't be under no trees like 2 in the morning, 1 in the morning, whatever. Um, don't be out in the woods late at night. I don't know, different little stuff, right? Different little stuff I hear, or whatever. And then, yeah, different little, like if you hear wolves, you should know that they can hear you. They not far away. They like a few miles away. And usually when they howling, they either hunting or they're calling for their packs to see where they at, and they trying to gather up. So different little stuff like that. Like you will hear wolves out here, even on full moons or non-full moons. And some of them big, like you might think it's a werewolf. I don't know. But anyway, right? I'm smoking, I'm chilling, got the door open, and then all of a sudden I'm feeling weird. I'm like, it's a breeze coming through. So I'm like, it's just a couple days ago. It's cool around this time, so whatever, right? The night breeze, that's probably that. But in my mind, all of a sudden, I'm thinking about like cloak technology. I've been watching different TV shows about different stuff, but a few nights ago, I had the feeling. I was thinking like I'm a real observant person, so if stuff makes sense, it makes sense. Like um, motion lights around here. A lot of people got motion lights, and some people leave their porch lights on or their back lights on. But and when dogs barking, like stuff like that, right? Like I know somebody around or something. Especially if I'm saying the motion lights, then like somebody moving around or something, right? Like I pay attention to stuff like that. So anyway, a few days ago, I'm thinking like somebody running around with some cloak stuff or something weird going on, right? Like somebody, not something, is moving around the neighborhood and they either spying or they on something, right? I'm like, whatever. I'm steady seeing the motion light go on, whatever, right? I'm noticing some stuff going on. So then I close the door. Uh, 2 minutes after that, I hear a car pulling off. So I'm like, yeah, I knew it was something. And then, so a couple days before, it's late again. It's like late at night, like 2, 3 in the morning, and somebody across the way doing something, right? And I hear the car pull off. So Uh, this night, I'm thinking like maybe it's the same thing. Maybe they had like a little cloak thing, and they kind of getting caught, and they seeing that they could get hurt, so they're like, well, even though motherfucker ain't say that they ain't bulletproof, they ain't sword proof, right? Whatever, right? So now it's like the door open, it's windy, a breeze coming through, and then all of a sudden it's like if somebody throws something at your window, like you'll hear something like like a something like that, right? So I hear that, but it's like if somebody threw something at a box, it was like they like threw it like hard, but I ain't see nothing come through the door. So I'm like, what the fuck? Like I ain't see nothing, but I heard it was loud. Like somebody threw something at the box real hard, and then I just get the chills. So I'm like, what the fuck? And then I'm kind of scared at this point. I ain't gonna lie. And then as soon as I'm kind of getting scared, then they go again, like throwing real hard again. And I'm like, I ain't seeing nothing though. So I go up to it. I'm looking because I'm like, at the first I thought it was like maybe the wind blowing, and we got rose vines, and sometimes they'll slap against the door or whatever, right? But it'll like scratch the door, so you'll know what that is. It'll hit and scratch, like hit scratch or whatever. But with this one, I was like, I know it wasn't that, but let me check just to be sure, because maybe some slid against the door. I don't know. So I opened it all the way just to look, and then I ain't seeing nothing or nobody running around or nothing like that. So I'm like, whatever. Then it hit it again for the third time, real hard. Like, don't when I step back for a bit. Then I'm like, damn, it's something like supernatural because it's intentionally trying to scare me, and I'm kind of feeling scared. I got the chills and shit, like if something just standing on my like came in and came around and is doing this type of shit. I'm like, what the fuck, you know what I'm saying? But then I get to thinking like I'm protect my energy, like whatever it is, like I'm chilling right now. I'm gonna keep chilling right now, like what the fuck, like. And that's kind of weird, right? You usually think like, oh, let me get up out of here. I ain't finna be like. That was not my response. Like I was like kind of freaked out, but I'm like, whatever. Then I'm like, why would I be scared if I am scared? Then whatever situation this is going to have control over the situation. But I got authority, and I'm like at the same time, I'm trying to chill. I'm not finna get up from chilling because this is what I want to do right now. So I gotta finish that. And then I got to thinking like that was weird. Like what was that? Then I was like, maybe it was a demon or something because it hit 3 times. It was like dump. It threw it hard. Then it was like dump, like it was trying to scare me. Then it came through. I get the breeze, and I get the chills on my like the goosebumps all over my body. Then I'm feeling like something right there, like on my shoulder. Like I feel like something grabbed my shoulder like that. Then I look back, but it's my hat. So I was like, what the fuck? It was like when they did that, like boom, they hit it real hard, and the breeze came through, and then it was like on my shoulder like that. Because I had stepped back a little bit when I heard the little boom thing. Then there was that, and I was like, ugh. Then like I'm tripping. Like even if I am scared, like this ain't the time for that. Like I refuse to lose. I refuse to be dealing with this type of shit. So I was like, uh, I'm not finna deal with that. Maybe I'm tripping, but I know I'm not. Then when they did the second time, I go check. So I'm like, yeah, I ain't seeing nothing, but I know I heard something. Then when they did the third time, like, yeah, I know it's something intentionally trying to get me to wig out. Then I was like, why would I be scared? And why should I be scared? Then I was like, maybe somebody dabbling with their energy, with their spiritual energy, and they trying to send attacks like that. Because I was like, the other day, like somebody was running around doing something. Because I'm steady seeing the sensor light go on and off, right? So I'm like, what the fuck people on? Like somebody on something around in the neighborhood. Then I'm seeing my neighbors, they light on at the in the back. Usually they light be off. And I know it's a creature that be around like bumping, thumping hard or whatever. Because I heard it like 2 times in the backyard. At first it was like a cornfield, but they've been tearing it down. They building a subdivision now. And there was some be running through there at nighttime. Like something big, real heavy. The motherfucker be jumping and bumping and it's fast. Like I don't know what it is. I never seen it, but I hear it. I ain't really trying to see. Yeah, that's why I was like when I heard the thing throw it real hard. I was like, I ain't seen nothing. I really wanted to see something, but I was like, I don't really want to see nothing. But that's the only way that I really be like, oh, all right, I'm finna move around type shit. Like, so I'm like, I don't want to see nothing, but that's the only thing that'll get me to be like, all right, I'm finna pay attention to what's going on. I'm finna engage with it, interact because I know it's really, really something. But when I ain't seen that, I'm like, well, whatever. I'm not finna be scared because that shit weird. But whatever, right? I'm finna do what I was doing. I'm chilling. I'm finna finish doing that. And I was like, it's crazy though. Like that shit weird, dog. I was like, yeah, it's something that somebody out here practicing with this, with that stuff. And I be talking to people and they be into that type of stuff. So I be like, maybe they trying to astro project because you know people be doing all that type of stuff. So like it could be probably some of that, or it could be like some of these people around here who got this cloak stuff and they out here trying to really, see what they can see and get what they can get on some old intelligence type stuff. People be like, I don't put nothing past nobody or nothing. Like if it's a weird ass thought that it comes to my mind on this what this might be, then maybe it is. And like they say, like a detective, like I got a hunch. I got a hunch. I guess my hunches be right though, be spot on. So I'd be like, if it's possible, it could happen. It could be it. But then I was like, yeah, if I'm not scared, and it was trying to scare us, so I was like, you gotta recognize that type of stuff too. Like, what kind of energy stuff coming with? It's like what I'm on is totally different than whatever that's about. And if you got time to be on something like that, like whatever, right? I'm not gonna use my. I'm chilling. I'm listening to some good music. I'm getting my vibes right. I'm getting in my flow. I'm using my energy to, get all the way on that. Like I was just playing before I started this. Some Kendrick Lamar, "Sing About Me." I'm dying of thirst. Like I be jamming. I got a real nice listen. I don't sit around listening to rap all day. Like you be surprised that I be listening to. I put y'all on to some stuff, but I be protecting my energy. I be about the vibe. That's why I be reading from my book and I be sharing what I be on, how I be making money from, and why I make money from. Like if I could do other things, I'd be doing that. But like I said, when I was learning myself, I was like messing myself up, basically killing myself in subtle ways, not caring about how I go about doing things and putting myself in unruly situations, you know what I'm saying? Like damaging my mental, damaging my physical health, and a lot of different stuff. It's just cleaning my life up, doing dangerous things. Um, it's just like being serious, like living with purpose and living for something. It's like taking influence serious as well too, and just taking it one day at a time. Like noticing like the stuff that people own for power and for happiness. It's a lot of miserable people in the world. It's a sad place sometimes. I just be thinking about like, how I'm using my energy and stuff like that. Like I don't have nothing to prove to nobody. This been a tough year for me. Like I lost my auntie. I just was in a trance, and I've been. Have y'all ever been in a trance before, like unwillingly, where you know it, like somebody put you in a trance? That happened to me a couple days ago too. This girl was like, I ain't even noticed it either. And usually I'm aware of this type of stuff. Like I usually have control of my will, right? And not all the time. Sometimes I do be like, you know, uh, I fall through either certain areas or where it just be like, damn, just you know what I'm saying? Mine just days for a second, and it be happening like, or you'll be led somewhere like you just a magnet to some shit all of a sudden. It's hard to explain, but it's like you, you kind of conscious, but you're not. You kind of just like going with the flow, like robotic. It's automatic. But anyway, I'm at the store, and it's like I'm kind of being led, but I'm not. But anyway, trying to decide on what kind of snacks I want, and then all of a sudden I grab some that I usually don't get, but whatever, right? I eat it's something I eat, but it's not a brand or a package that I usually get, but I grabbed it and I go to pay for it, and she was like, "Oh, I like this kind. I was trying to lead you to that, and yeah, you did it, and it worked." She's like, "I got it," and then I was like, I ain't really think too much about it, and then the whole time we talking is like I'm just like zoned out, like we talking and stuff, and I'm trying to leave, but not because I'm in a rush, but I'm feeling like I'm spaced out. That's why I want to leave the conversation feeling like I'm sitting here talking to her for a long time, and this lady behind me kind of rushing on and hold her waiting, but it's like I don't really have control of it, but I just know I want to leave, right? And I'm weird. I'm being weird at this point because I'm like I'm engaging, but not really. But it's like I don't have no control. So then when I finally leave, I'm on my way. Then I'm like zoned out. Then I'm like, damn. I start thinking about what she said. She was like, "Yeah, I got you to pick that one. It worked." Then I was like, damn, and I was wondering why I was feeling like I wanted to break free from her presence, but I couldn't. So I was like, damn, I wonder if she just put that on me, like, you know what I'm saying? She just had me in a trance because I'm in a trance right now, and I'm realizing like I was in a trance then. And I'm like, damn, that shit crazy, but that's real though, like how people can use that power to manipulate energy. And sometimes you'll know it and sometimes you won't. Sometimes you'll recognize somebody putting thoughts in your head and sometimes you won't. But usually I had the power to control it, but I didn't even have the awareness to know that it was going on. I was aware that I wanted to move from this area and get away from this conversation, but I couldn't. And that's the only thing that I knew. And then as I'm on my way, I'm all jolly or whatever, and then I'm back in the trance because I was just thinking about the conversation. That's the only thing that was on my mind until I trance again, and then I'm like, wait, hold on, like this some strong energy, and I'm breaking free of this energy, and now I know like, oh, that was something real, something that just took a hold of my energy and had me locked in that trance until I broke out and trans again into a different, you know, energy form. I tapped into my own energy again. And I was like, damn, that's something real, and that's something to be aware of because people do have that type of power from different spirits that they work with. And then they had me thinking like maybe that was the spirit that was attached to that person that I broke free from that's trying to get back, and they was trying to get my attention. And it's like maybe that like in the cloak technology, like as far as lucid dreaming and however they do stuff, right? I don't know, but it's no coincidence to me, right? So I'm thinking like people practice this stuff, they do this type of things, and this stuff is real, and people do really have power, and that's why they choose to persecute those who choose Christ because we choose to allow Christ to use His power to use us, and not the other way around. We submit to Christ's ways to be different from the world and not to influence people with our power and with our. So I was like, wow, that's crazy and it's real. And some people be locked into different people's energy and they be influenced to do whatever they tell them to do. That's why they have TV shows about um, people who commit crimes together, couples who commit crimes together, groups who commit crimes together. The law of majority rule, um, social influence, right? Social compliance. What is social compliance? Just like in China, Beijing, they have social credit scores where they got the whole city basically influenced and complying by their laws. If you don't stop at the red light, if you break any rules or any of this, then you'll be shamed. They'll put your picture up on the big screen, and maybe it'll affect your social credit score, and people will look up your history on those scores and their phones and stuff like that. This is social compliance, right? And you see how easily the whole community, the whole city is influenced by social compliance and how this stuff is used to get people to be controlled, how people can control your energy. They got your energy so wrapped up in complying that you don't use your energy to think for yourself or to, do anything else. And this stuff is real. And it's easy to be lost into that flow, right? Because the world is what we want to be like. The world is what's always on our mind. The world is always influencing us. But that was something I just wanted to share with y'all, like an experience I had. And it's not nothing scary because I wasn't scared, but I do have some scary stories and experiences that I did have before I really knew about um, Jesus Christ and all of these other things, having discernment, having incitement, enlightenment. But yeah, I'm gonna read this last one and I'm gonna let y'all go just to catch up for the day. I read this one already before, but we're just gonna go one more time, and then I'm gonna read to the 26th. So this is the 24th to the 26th, and I think this is a nice one. Lie down in green pastures of peace. Learn to unwind whenever possible, resting in the presence of your shepherd. This electronic age keeps my children wired, much of the time, too tense to find me in the midst of their moments. I built in your very being the need to rest. How twisted the world has become when people feel guilty about meeting the basic need. How much time and energy they waste by being always on the go, rather than taking time to seek my direction for their lives. I have called you to walk with me down the paths of peace. I want you to blaze a trail for others who desire to live in my peaceful presence. I have chosen you less for your strengths than your weaknesses, which amplify your need for me. Depend on me more and more, and I will shower peace on all your paths. This reading was inspired from the book of Psalms, chapter 23, verse 1 through 3, and also the book of Genesis, chapter 2, verse 2 through 3. And last but never the least, this was inspired by the book of Luke, chapter 1, verse 7 through 9. And then we're going to go move along these type of verses. And y'all could just rewind it to see what verses in the Bible that these come from, and you'll hear similar inspiration from the Bible, but more in depth. I am God with you for all time and throughout eternity. Don't let the familiarity of that concept numb its impact on your consciousness. My perpetual presence with you can be a continual source of joy, springing up and flowering out in streams of abundant life. Let your mind reverberate with meaning of my name Jesus, the Lord saves, and Emmanuel, God with us. Strive to remain conscious of my presence even in your busiest moments. Talk with me about whatever delights you, whatever upsets you, whatever is on your mind. These tiny steps of discipline daily, taken one after another, will keep you close to me and on the path of life. This was inspired by the book of Matthew, chapter 1, verses 21 and 23, and also the book of Acts, chapter 2, verse 28 Wait, it's this one. And this is the last one that we're gonna end this for the day. And if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. If you like this type of content, this type of information, can help me out reach my goals. And if you wanna help me celebrate my birthday, I'm not taking any donations, but I do have products and services you guys can purchase. If you want to show some love in that way, check out the links in my bio. Come to me when you are hurting, and I will soothe your pain. Come to me when you are joyful, and I will share your joy, multiplying it many times over. I am all you need, just when you need it. Your deepest desires find fulfillment in me alone. This is the age of self help. Bookstores abound with books about taking care of number one, making oneself center of all things. The main goal of these mythologies is to become self sufficient and confident. You, however, have been called to take a road less traveled, continual dependence on me. True confidence comes from knowing you are complete in my presence. Everything you need has its counterpart in me. This reading was inspired by the book of John, chapter 15, verse 5, and also, last but not the least, James, chapter 1, verse 4. The world always tells us otherwise. We need everything. We need money, women, boys, girls, cars, clothes. We don't need God. We can do everything because we have all of these things. We have jewels, diamonds, all of these, the internet, chat GBT. But God says you have everything in me. Everything has its counterpart. But yes, may that be a blessing to the readers, the hearers, and the doers of His word. Peace and blessings for Team Angie.